All right, so today we're again talking about Unit 9, and you will still use this percent proportion, but we're going to more be looking at circle graphs. And this is just a fun example of a circle graph, but usually circles don't necessarily have pictures on them, and they will definitely have percents. All of the percents, if you think about it, have to equal 100%. So make sure that that is true when you're doing your homework tonight. Looking at this page, I've updated all of the homework pages. If you want to copy those down, that would be great. If we're looking at tonight's or tomorrow's assignment, 9.4, read and interpret circle graphs, is pages 17 through 19. And looking at tomorrow's only 9.5 is only 2 pages, and after that it'll just be 1 page each. So you're getting there. Great job. When you read and interpret circle graphs, it will help you to understand what types of situations will also be able to be used with circle graphs. Circle graphs always include a situation that has numbers that add up to 100%. So not every situation makes sense to be put into a circle graph. If we're looking at this one, kind of fun, favorite superheroes. You can take a look and see if the majority matches with what your favorite superhero is. I would say that mine is probably Batman right now. So it's definitely not Spider-Man. Doesn't quite match up with the majority, but that's okay. All right, you're going to be reading this circle graph first of all and doing some more interpreting later. You'll also be talking about time spent on homework. Notice that some of these have the percentages, but not all of them. So you may be asked to figure out the missing pieces. All right, so for the most popular, that one's pretty obvious. The least popular, again, that's pretty obvious. To talk about number 3, what percent of people said Thor was their favorite? You have to remember what I said about about circle graphs, that the total has to add up to 100%. So you will need to add up the total number that we have so far. All of these you're going to have to put together. 27, 6, 14, 15, and 15. Add those all up and then subtract from 100. So you do 100% minus whatever that sum was that we have so far, and it will equal your answer. Now this video will not be giving any answers, but I will talk through a couple of problems. If you have other questions, you can ask me in class. What percent of people said either Superman or Spider-Man? And if you remember from the probability unit, I talked about if it's either or means add. So you're going to add those 2 percentages. Which 2 heroes did about half the people say was their favorite? So you need to remember that half is 50%, and you need to put 2 and 2 together to figure out which one would equal half. You could also visually think about what it should look like on a circle graph. About half would be about half the circle. And it says which 2. So you're going to have to find 2 that have large percentages. It won't be exact. Looking at the bottom, time spent on homework. Now, for some of you, this is not at all what you would say, what you would report for how much time you spend on your homework. But for some, it does match. So you're going to have to find the math again. After figuring out the most and the least, make sure that you remember that it has to total to 100%. When you subtract all the rest, then you'll figure out that answer. What is the combined amount? Think about the word combined. And this and this. So again, I think you should be thinking about plus or adding. And which 2 subjects accounts for about half again. Looking at the next page, interpreting circle graphs. So this one is going to be a little more difficult. It only has the numbers. It does not have the percents. And it talks about a 75-gram donut. So you will have to figure out the percents yourself. What is the largest and smallest components? You can still figure that out without the percents, but you will have to calculate at least pieces of this. How many grams of fat would you find in a 75-gram donut? So that's just reading the information that they give you. But what percent of a donut is protein? That part you will have to calculate. So you're looking at 4.7 grams. All of these are in grams. And that you have to figure out, is it going to be the part or the whole? And I would suggest the percent proportion. You don't know what the percent is, but that's what you're trying to figure out. You know this has to be 100. You know we're talking about a 75-gram donut. And you know how much is protein. So 4.7. Make sure when you answer your question, you give the answer as a percent, because it's asking you what percent. And also make sure it doesn't say what to round to, so please give your answer as exact as possible. Based on the graph and your prior knowledge, is a donut a healthy food? Explain your answer. Please make sure you do explain why you think that. And compare the components of a 75-gram to an apple. You can use the internet for this. What do you think? What are the major differences? It's an open-ended question for you. If you look at the last page of your homework, 9.4, interpret circle graphs again. This one's talking about percent of weekly activities for a student about your age. And you can see how close this is to what you usually do. Other than sleeping in school, on what do 9 to 12-year-olds spend most of their time doing? And if this survey were done again today, how would the graph change? Take a look at what year it was made. This is in 1997. So that was when I was about your age. Actually, no. A few years off. But it's definitely a long time ago. All right, if the survey were done again, we said that. There are 168 hours in a week. How much time is spent sleeping? You'll have to convert using the percent proportion and compare. So this section is all about reading and interpreting circle graphs, noticing that all the percentages always add up to 100%. If you notice it's a tiny bit off, that's because of a rounding error. Please let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.